Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, New York GA Crime Files. I just wanted to go live because the verdict came in for Miles Bryant. I was out walking and I was thinking, I was like, are they gonna come with this verdict tonight, or they just gonna, early in the morning, just give the verdict? And look, the jury was not playing. They were not playing around at all whatsoever. They came in with that verdict tonight at about 8. I was at the park walking, and when I got back home, put a little bit of groceries away, and I sat down at my computer and I saw where they had a verdict. And thanks to a couple of subscribers that were like, "Did you hear the verdict?" So thank y'all for looking out for me. But I want to go ahead on and go to, let me share the screen here. Because I tell you what, let's see here. Let's share the screen here. If y'all be able to see this screen. This is Miles Bryant. He has been straight face, stone face, not a tear. This man has no emotion. Let me just play this for y'all because I want y'all to see. I'm very happy that they took him off the street. My condolences to the Morales family. This is not going to bring that young woman back, but at least he is off the street. He is definitely a predator. And if this has any indication, I've been covering that Ernest Williams case, and his friend is saying, well, most people, they don't do this, and you don't know people really until you know people. Okay. And sometimes you think you know people and you don't know people. And this is a good thing that this man is off the streets, because had he been allowed to keep that badge, there would be many more women missing and probably unalived in the state of Georgia. He had a badge, he had a weapon, he was trusted by the community, and this is a good thing that he is off the streets, but so young at 23 years old. So for people to say, well, you don't know people, I said, I'm talking about Mrs. Waller, where she's taught, and I hate to mix up the cases, but this case should have some bearing, and we should look at how the forensic evidence that they did have against him. But let's just look at this some footage here, and I'll comment on this. Let's look at this. You see how stone faced he is? Look at him. No emotion. Straight face. I'd be crying, sad, throwing myself on the mercy of the jury. He's stone faced, and he's been stone faced all the while. He has no emotion. When I tell, one of the reasons why I started this channel, when it was called Can We Talk with Monique, and yes, I am Monique, was to talk about these cases, because there's a personality and a spirit, but there's a personality behind a lot of these cases of fraud, like in Ernest Williams, certain DV, and even with this young man right here, right? If he had not gotten caught, most people would never think that it was him. Most people would look at him and be like, oh my God, he's an outstanding officer, not knowing what he does in the background. So for some people, when I listen to some of these phone calls saying, well, people don't just start doing this in their 60s, ma'am, you don't even know who you're talking to on the phone. Okay. You don't know people. But let's look at this video here. Look at him. Look. He looked, those deputies over there is standing. One was standing by the Judge Atkins. They did a great job in Gwinnett County. I'm hoping that it runs the Ernesto trial runs as smooth, but if that YSL trial has any bearings on, it may not run as smooth, but they had everything together. Both lawyers, the lawyer, she didn't even, Tracy right here. Tracy was like, ain't nothing I can do, and in Georgia, they do have the death penalty. So he did get life in prison. They found him guilty on all charges except for the grape charge. They found him not guilty, and that was probably because, and this might be a trigger warning, that was probably because of they were not able to definitively determine if she had been raped because of the decomposition and the condition of the body as far as DNA. But on all the other malice, unaliving, the other charges, they did find him guilty. He is going to get life in prison without parole. Let me run this tape here because I want to go to um, I think everybody was very civil. The witness in the DA did a great job. My hats off to the DA in Gwinnett County. Hats off to detectives on this case. Yep. I'm having some problems with. That's right. So he called him a monster and a predator, and I have to agree with him. Had they not caught him, there would have been more people missing in Gwinnett County. And the fact that he had a weapon and a badge, that just made it even worse. Um, he's a predator, and a story that I'm gonna do coming up is about Alicia Bates. I don't know where Alicia Bates is, but I will say this to you, sis. That young lady's red flags went off, and I would not have enticed him to try to come over, but she knew her life was in danger. And if Alicia had not done what she did, she might not be here to tell the story either. Okay. So if y'all know who Alicia Bates is, um, she was that feisty young lady with the braids, the woman that Miles Bryant tried to go to her home. And I really do feel like what happened was she rejected him. She was not giving him the time of day. She was ignoring him. He took that as rejection, and he got angry. He got very angry, and he got so angry to the point that he went to her home on several different occasions and looked up her license plates and all type of stuff on the GCIS. The other young ladies that are very lucky to be alive, because this is why we have to test the spirits. This is why we have to figure out who we're getting involved with. Because some of these people are master manipulators. He was, and he is a master manipulator. I'm talking about Sonovia. Let me see who I got the names written down here. The girlfriends, the two women that he was dealing with, they should consider themselves very grateful that they got away from this person, especially Sonovia, because what he was doing, he had hidden cameras in the house watching her. Okay. He also had he probably used a tracking device on her car and she didn't know it. And he also was going into the computer system and tracking her license plate. He was a stone cold psychopath it is my belief. But they found him guilty on all counts except for the grape charge. And like I said, that was probably due to the fact that they did not have any DNA to, as far as to definitively say that he did that. But why did she not have any clothes on. You know what I mean? So it shows you that you never know people. He was adopted, and I have some information on Miles Bryant, and I understand why Tracy Bryant doesn't want her picture out there. I appreciate Judge Atkins for running an orderly court. She did not let the jurors get photographed. I'm respecting that. And then those who did not want to be photographed, like Synovia and some of the other people, I have pictures of those people, but they did not want to be photographed because this is such a traumatic thing. Imagine adopting a young child and then now at, you know, 23, you know, you're going to court for a child that you did not biologically birth. You were trying to help, and now you're sitting here with this situation on your lap. So I'm really I really understand why they don't want to be photographed, and you know why that level of privacy with the jurors. She kept an orderly court. She did what she had to do by way of the court system. And county can take some notes. This is when you use the corporate credit card and you go up to Gwinnett County with your, you know, your fellow brothers in blue and sit down and see what they did and compare notes. So when, you know, Ernesto Williams case comes up, you know, you guys have used the flock system. My old subdivision, let me tell you something, guys. You can't go nowhere and do a crime and don't think you're not going to get caught. What he thought he was so smart. What he did was said that his gun was stolen, okay, and his wallet. But yet we don't use cash anymore. Remember, a lot of people don't use cash. So he was hungry in McDonald's somewhere in Henry County and needed to get something to eat. And I think went to McDonald's and used his debit card. So if your wallet is stolen, how are you using your debit card? See, this is how you get tracked, Ernesto and Mrs. on your wallet. They have evidence that can track you, whether it's fingerprints. There's another system called the vigilante system where those repo guys, they ride through neighborhoods all over the place looking for cars and scan license plates. This is how they knew Miles Bryant was sitting outside of Susana Morales' house a month after she was missing. Creepy and crazy. Okay, just very creepy and crazy. Alicia Bates, don't let anybody else tell you that there was anything wrong with you. You did the right thing, sis. She said she went and got her firearm. He was coming after her. He was coming after her. He was upset because she rejected him. She ignored him. And he came back multiple times to get her. He would have gotten her if she had not thought the way she did. And once he was being investigated, he was still looking up stuff in the computer system. He is the worst of the worst. I'm telling you. So for y'all young people, I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, whatever, you got to get to know people. And these young ladies saw the signs, but they ignored them. I can guarantee you if I interviewed Synovia, if I interviewed the other young lady, they would say, well, yeah, we saw signs, but he was really good. He was quick on his feet. He always had an excuse for something. When you feel something in your gut that is not correct, it is time to walk away. I don't care who it is. It is time to go because you have that thing that God gives you that lets you know when there's something wrong. And there was something wrong. This man is, look at him. He did not break a sweat. I'd be sweating, crying, falling on the jury. I would be doing all other type of stuff. He did none of the above. Do you not understand me? He's sitting there, not even breaking a sweat. Psychopaths, they could take a lie detector test and pass with flying colors because nothing don't bother them. Nothing don't bother these people. They don't have the regular normal. They have no empathy. They don't. He was able to go the next day, and that's why he's a predator. He goes to Quick QT, asked to use the young lady's phone, and then he proceeds to send himself her naked pictures the next day after all of this happens. That means he was a stone cold. I'm telling you, it is very, very good that he is off the streets, y'all. It's good that he ain't on these streets no more. Okay? It is it can't bring Susana back, but it is absolutely positively a wonderful thing that he is off the street. This is what you call a predator. If he had, well, imagine if he would have kept that badge for 20, 30 years, how many people would still be missing up in the woods? And he was actually telling on himself. If y'all watch the trial, because see, these people, they always go back to the scene of the crime. Well, I don't know what that's all about, but that's what they do. He goes in a missing persons situation with a young girl and starts telling her, really, this you be found in the woods and somebody will grab you up. I was like, this man is just literally telling what actually happened. But those two women, Angela Carter, shout out to you, sis. Corporal Detective Angela Carter. Look, she did her thing as far as the interrogation. She gained his trust. She did her thing, Angela Carter. I just want to give a shout out to that. Everybody did their thing, but for me, as far as interrogations and really gaining his trust, she did that. Okay, I mean, and they had all type of evidence against him. For example, I mean, the cell tower. So for folks who are sitting here thinking, because I remember when I was listening to some of the phone calls, and I had to stop listening to them for a little while because you lose brain cells. Shout out to phone calls for prison, but you lose brain cells when you listen to them phone calls. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, what? So these folks are trying to find alibis. Well, you wasn't there and I wasn't there. Ma'am, sir, do you not understand that they have IT forensics that you don't even understand, that you don't even know about, that will put you at a particular place in time? Okay, so it's not only pictures that they're talking about. It's not only your cell phones. It's multiple other things. Did y'all know about flock? Most crimes are solved today by way of flock cameras, because those cameras, as you pass up and down GDOT, he was looking on GDOT on the highway, your license plates get scanned. In my old subdivision, we had a flock camera. Those flock cameras take pictures of your license plate and sends them straight to the police department. So they already know from their computer system who the car belongs to, what kind of car it is, who it belongs to, and they're able to track you. You get away with nothing anymore. Now, some people are slick. That's why a lot of people are not doing it. And it made no sense because he actually took his cell phones with him to the scene of the crime. Both phones. And then it was meant, look, God ain't playing with none of us no more, okay? He ain't playing with none of us no more. His gun was dropped at the scene of the crime. If that ain't something, I'm telling you, okay? Had he not taken his cell phones and had he not dropped that gun, it would have been a hard pressed to find him, okay? It would have been hard pressed to find him. But he was so confident in such a predator, he got caught, and I am so glad that he did. 23 years old, and I'm sure, I don't care what y'all say, I know from looking at, a lot of these serial unalivers, the Dahmers and they got the Long Island serial unalivers. A lot of these people are into sadistic bondage type thing, just like what I believe that, this is just my belief, Mr. Williams and maybe Mrs. Waller is into. Because their minds sometimes, I mean, you can be into whatever you want to be into. That's your business if you grown. But statistics in society and profilers have shown that when you are, a lot of these people are into that type of bondage type, what do they call it? SDM? I don't know, something like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And a lot of these people, majority of them are into they have a pornography addiction, okay, which leads to them, looking at humans like you're not even human. All right, I'm just saying these are what the facts are. So I'm sure he's had some sort of issue there. But Elisha Bates, that young lady, smart, feisty, those red flags went off, and that fool came to her house on more than one, her door was kicked down on one occasion. She wasn't in the house. He would have done something to her. I'm telling you, I believe they never said it was him, but who else kicked down her door? Then on 2 other occasions, he came banging on her door and trying to push in her door. He's very strong. Okay? Very strong. That's why I said, y'all, those sheriffs in that courtroom, stand there by that judge and stand there by that fool right there, because some of these folks, they just go off. And we had a very horrible situation some years back in Fulton County. So I was like, don't be letting that guy, don't have a woman, not saying that a woman can't take care of business, but no. Have somebody on this one right here. Make sure everybody is safe. But yeah, they found him guilty. And I'm very pleased. But when you're talking about dating, even in your 20s, okay, this man was a stalker. And there was another young lady in college at West Georgia. Mm-hmm. She's doing nursing school there. Mm-hmm. He called her the side chick. And then there was Synovia. And I'm just gonna say this, Synovia, if they ever watch these videos, if Tracy, I know you guys tried to scrub your accounts. I would suggest scrub it a little harder. Okay, just scrub it a little bit harder, and people should respect their privacy. But once I saw that the judge, they didn't want to be seen, I was like, I'm going to respect and honor their wishes. Okay, but it's hard to scrub, guys, because if you like somebody else's video or put a heart next to it, people can connect you to other people. So, I'm just saying, scrub it a little bit harder or get a professional to scrub it. I know what was her name? Miss Rothschild. You know who I'm talking about. She scrubs her accounts really good. She did. People were able to get stuff from court records, but she went in on the internet and she scrubbed her identity off the internet. So Synovia and anybody else who's been involved with Mr. Bryant, and you don't want folks bothering you. And I think, people don't want to be seen. The judge was very specific about that. I think, as YouTubers and commenters and content creators, I think we should respect that. You understand what I'm saying? I went and looked, but when I saw that they were like, they wanted their privacy, and rightfully so. Elisha Bates, her face was out there, and one of his other girlfriends, her face was out there, but the other ones, they were like, nah, we're good. We don't want to be, our faces out there. And I respect that, and I understand that. But he was coming after Elisha. She would have been one of his victims. He was coming after her. I believe he was the one who kicked down her door. Why was you coming back and forth talking about, she never told me I couldn't. She never told you could. I'm telling you, this man, this is the worst kind, the pathological liars. And so women and ladies and gentlemen, if you're dating somebody and you catch them in lies, or pathological liars, you have to question, everything. Erica Kang. Yep. Erica Kang, Miss Rothschild. But if this is any indication of how the Ernesto Williams, because their case is not only going to be built, they went and got his bank records from Navy Federal. They went and got ATM records. They did tracking devices, phone towers. So they do have evidence as to where he was, and they might have evidence as to where these other alleged people were at the same time too. And if they could put them in the same vicinity, then you were probably there. So all of that they went through, talking about, well, I know where I was at. And I'm like, ma'am, sir, if you don't understand that there are forensic specialists who know exactly what they can do and what they can. And I'm wondering, I remember that they said with the Ernesto Williams case that there was allegedly some documents written in blood or something like that. That's DNA. I wonder if they had the letters or if that was true or not. But if this is any indicator, look, Fulton County, go get the corporate credit card out. This is how you legally do this. Go and consult with your buddies, friends, your brothers in blue, your fellow, counterparts, lawyers, attorneys, and all of that, and go and talk with them and see what, if y'all got y'all ducks in a row, and if there's anything else that you should be looking at, because this was a smooth case. It was quick justice. It shouldn't have been, she didn't even present any defense to anything. She didn't question really anything, because there's nothing to question. So if they have a case as solid like this, how they have with Miles Bryant, as far as the technology and the data and the cell phones, I believe those RICO charges will stand with Mr. Williams. If they have the documentation, you have to have a documentation. That's what I do all day. I look at documentation. And as a nurse, the adage is, if it wasn't written, it wasn't done. So if we haven't written or documented, and there's nowhere documented, then it never even existed. It never even happened. That is what they tell nurses. That was what they used to tell us 30 years ago when I became a nurse. But if it's not written, it's not done. I look at documents all day long. Okay? That's what I do. So, what I'm trying to say is they have specialists who are going to go through everything. And guess what? The cell towers, I mean, the flock cameras, they're using Vigilant. There's a special system that does dumps from T-Mobile and Motorola. Come on now. So you're not hiding. When people commit crimes, your footprint is somewhere. And then we walk around with a tracking device every day called our cell phones. Okay. So I don't know. He thought he was so smart, but the Lord meant for him to get caught because he took both his cell phones with him. Both of them he took with him. And that's one thing about these psychopaths. They love their cell phones. If you're so smart, you would have, if he had not taken his cell phone or his weapon, he probably would have never got caught. Because that's what tied him to the case. Before they found his service revolver there was nothing to track him there. That was the thing. The service revolver is what let them know, wait a minute. And then when they went to check his cell phone records, it put him at the scene. But if that had not happened, he would have probably still been walking around here with his badge and all of that. And she probably would have married this dude, and it would have been horrible. Horrible. And he had multiple partners. I mean, that's his business. He's grown. But my point is, this is how they do. Narcissists have multiple means of supply. You're never the only one. They may tell you a story and lie to you very, very well, and you are none the wiser. They might have 5 other different people that they're dealing with. And that night he was dealing with, even the night that this whole thing happened, which is crazy. That shows his mindset. He was talking to Zenovia. He was talking to the other lady. He was talking to his mama. It's like he has no remorse, y'all. And if y'all don't understand, some of these people have no empathy. That what he did does not register to him. He kept saying, no, I know. It's not me. Yes, it's you. Mm-hmm. It's you. It's you and them demons. Okay? If y'all don't understand that, a lot of folks is on demon time right now. I can't tell y'all. I can't explain it. But just look at the news. Okay? Now, there's another young lady that's missing. He was found guilty. He's going to appeal. I'm not sure why, but that's his right, to appeal. Let's go to another young lady is missing here in Georgia. And this story don't sound too kosher either. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Let me see. There's another young lady. Let me see if I can find that article here. She's missing, and I just want to bring some attention to it, because it's not getting a lot of attention, and it needs some attention brought to this particular case. So let me bring that here, and let's see. Hold on for a minute. I'm trying to I got so many things open here. I got too much stuff open. Lord have mercy. Let me see here. Is this it? Hold on. Yeah, there's another young lady that's missing in Georgia. And I'm going to try to get rid of some of these. That's probably why my StreamYard wasn't working too well, because you can't have a whole bunch of screens open. It can get sensitive, and at certain times it gets real funny. So you gotta let me see, is this it? Let me see, is that the one? Let me see if that's the one. No, not no store closures. I ain't looking for no store closures. What is that? Hold on for a minute. That's not what I'm looking for. But yeah, I just wanted to come on because I've been following that story, but I'm definitely going to highlight Alicia Bates, because that young lady, she reported, and one of the things that happened was, I believe that they didn't really take her seriously. He tried to tell them this, that, and the other, but the bottom line was he did come to her house. She reported it to his, and I believe that, see, this is where I believe they should have taken that seriously when she reported it. But hey, hey, what can you do? You know what I mean? What can you do? You can only do the best that you can. But let's see if I she did report it, and I believe they should have taken that seriously, but it doesn't look like they did. So there's another young lady, and she's 12 years old. Her name is Maria Gomez Perez from Gainesville, Georgia. She was reported missing. It's conflicting data. Um, May 29th, May 30th. It's been 2 weeks since she's been missing. It's not gotten a lot of coverage. And one of the things I like to say is even small content creators, um, we can bring attention to this and put pressure sometimes on the smaller communities and the larger communities at large, when sometimes I know the law enforcement is busy, but her story has not gotten a lot of um, press. It's not gotten a lot of information. It's been 2 weeks that she's been missing. There is a $30,000 reward. This is Hall County Sheriff Office. She's a 12-year-old beautiful young lady. It says, and again, her name is Maria Gomez Perez, and they're offering a $30,000 reward for her safe return. She's missing from her home. So this is suspicious. They said they're doing an investigation, which leads me to believe that the federales are involved. And is considered endangered. The Hall County Sheriff, while authorities say they have received 70 tips, none of them led to Gomez Perez's location. Okay, and an anonymous resident previously offered a $20,000 reward for information in connection with her disappearance. And then authorities, another business person. That's shout out to the business people and the people who have those coins, and they take those coins and they put it to good use. A business person put $10,000, and another anonymous resident put $20,000, and that is really, really wonderful, because sometimes money will make people start talking. That leads, if any of the this, remember, Crime Stoppers and 77 tips back in New York City, those hotlines sometimes get tips that help come to find the person or leads to an arrest. So there's $30,000 reward being offered. So all of you small true crime, content creators, large and small, we have a voice, and I'm not saying that we can all work together. This is where we can all work together and bring attention to a case like this that's not getting enough traction. So the more faces, the more channels that put this out there, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, we can, hopefully shed a spotlight and put some pressure even on the person who may have taken her. When they start seeing this on, social media, it starts, causing a ruckus. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying we can all work together, but I am saying also that a lot of times content creators are helping, put together the timelines. Some of these true crimers, I mean, they're ex-retired law enforcement. Some of them are profilers. Some of them work for the FBI. Some are retired law enforcement, cops, detectives. Yeah, look, they be solving crimes, doing aerial shots. So we can work together, but we need more attention to this particular case. And so even with a lot of the other cases, when some of the YouTubers got to it, that's when the case started getting attention. Even the Ernest Williams case, it was the YouTubers that really started bringing attention. And now it's on a national level, because New York Post has it. But we and those people who started out first covering the story last year, that we put it out there so people can see what's going on. And so in her case, please, if you have I don't care if you have a 1 subscriber, just mention her name and let this start trending, so that way her name gets out there. Because once it starts getting out there, that does put pressure. I know law enforcement, I'm not anti-law enforcement, okay? There's good and bad in everything. There's good, judges, bad judges. There's good nurses, bad nurses. There's rotten apples everywhere. I for one, I'm calling 911 when I need some help. I want the popo to show up and help me out, okay? But at the same time, when we bring this to light, and they said they did not issue a Maddie's call, why not? Why didn't they issue a Maddie's call for this young? Is it a Maddie's call? Is that what it's called? Where they issued an alert. I was getting alerts. It was like last year. Was it about 6 months ago? I was getting alerts on my iPhone. A Maddie's call. Right? They said that she didn't meet the criteria. Why she didn't meet the criteria? I'm confused. But I don't know. I'm thinking there's something else going on in the background, y'all. I think this is being investigated. It's been 2 weeks, and I believe in another couple of weeks or so, they're trying to keep, the investigation, from getting out there. So the person that may have done this or whatever the case may be, I really don't know. They're trying to keep mum's the word. I think we'll have some revelation as to what has occurred shortly, because they did do a press conference. So when they do a press conference, I'm freely thinking that they have some people, that they suspect. They haven't said it, but that's what I'm thinking when I watch these cases. But look at her, beautiful young 12 years old. Okay. So, I mean, a lot of times, guys, we look at these stories and it's always somebody else. But I know these people are living a nightmare, some of them, because it's like Susana's family. You see this on the news and you never think it's going to happen to you. And you want all the support and help that you can get, with getting the person's name out or getting the story out or getting the information, their picture out. If you come from a small town USA like Hall County, in Gainesville, this needs to be made, all local, all over Georgia, and national. And when you get that national attention, then it's like, you know what I mean? Some of these people can't move. They can't move, or they can't do too much else because the spotlight is on that particular town. And everybody on YouTube, we're starting to get reports, calling the courthouse, getting these YouTubers, they ain't nothing to mess with. I'm just going to say that. I didn't even know how, with the true crime, I do a little bit, but there's some that, look, this is what they do. And even with thinking about that Ernest Williams case, I know there's one guy that calls in, I think his name is Joey. And I remember him speaking about seeing Erica King, and he said she was disarming. And he said he made a comment almost like, when you question people. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking Joey is law enforcement. He comes across maybe like a profiler, or not a judge, but detective, maybe, profiler, that type of thing. That's what I'm thinking. But guys, please, put this out on your channels. This young lady is missing. She's been missing since the 29th or the 30th here in Georgia, another Georgia case. And you know what? When I listen to this particular person and talk about, well, people don't start doing that. You don't know people. I've learned, even at my big grown age, that sometimes you don't know people, because some of these people are so good at hiding who they truly really are deep down inside. Now, if you get the EBGBs or the creepy weepies, then that means that your body and your intuition and the Lord is telling you, you don't need to deal with these people. Don't override that thing, because that's protects you. Okay. But some of these people are cunning, and they're able to, but they usually give themselves away with certain things. And that's when you cut the cord. But y'all, it's a situation here where another young lady is missing, and let's just give some time. All it takes is 10-15 minutes to post her picture and say something and put it in your tags and your keywords so it can start trending. But I do believe that the cops are really investigating this situation. And as it relates to this case with Miles Bryant, he truly is a predator. He's a monster. And I'm sorry, in every sense of the word, he is a predator. And he should be behind bars, because ain't no telling if they would have left him out, how many other people would be missing. So guys, you said they found her. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, let's pray that they find her. Absolutely. I pray that they do find her. But it's been about 2 weeks, and that's not a good sign. But they're investigating. But definitely, yeah, he was mad, she said, about that. Yes, he's mad. He's not, the look that you see on his face is anger. They don't know sadness. They really don't know empathy or care. They know anger and rage. That's what they get. So that's what you're seeing. He's not remorseful by any chance of the word. He's just not. And these are the psychopaths that walk around here. That the bad part about it is some of these people are smart, and a lot of them are very intelligent, and they get jobs where they're respected, like in law enforcement or healthcare, or become a CEO of a company. This is what happens, and you have to kind of weed them out. But had that gun not been found, and had he not taken his 2 cell phones with him, I don't think that case would have been solved, because the only footage they had of her was of her walking, but there was really no other cameras in that area, besides that one by that King David Center that caught her walking. Other than that, there was no other footage. So, I think what happened was she was in that car when Synovia and him was arguing, because he has very dark tint in the back. I believe she was in the car at the time, and he could not get away to put his phone someplace or hide his phones. He had her in the car, and he had to hurry up and get on the highway and just boogie on up 85. So, had he not, but he's an animal. But anyway, y'all, I am glad that he is off the streets. And like I said, if this is any indication of how, even though with Mr. Williams, it's a RICO case, but they're going to use some of the same evidentiary type of assessment and quantitative analysis as far as his data, phones, a map, and they're going to be, they already have that. Bank statements, like I said, nobody uses cash a lot. So I remember going to the post office, and I think I had $100 bill. They was like, we don't got no money. I was like, y'all, the post office. They was like, we don't got no money. Everybody uses a debit card. I was like, oh, okay. So Miles was so smart. He told him his wallet and his gun was stolen. But the next day or the same day he reported it stolen, he's using his debit card at McDonald's. So make sense. So some of these people are so smart, they give themselves away. But, I'm glad that he was able to give himself away, and get him up off the street and from behind that uniform, because just like he said, you don't represent us and you don't represent this country. And that officer who interviewed him and said that's right. He was like, you don't represent us. He was like, people already have a hard time with the cops, and you doing this type of stuff, you don't represent us, and you don't with the badge, and you don't represent this country, because he had been, I think, in the military too. Good riddance to him. But anyway, y'all, I just wanted to come up here and talk about that. I got some other stories I'm working on, but I want to go over with Alicia Bates. I'm telling you, had they not got him, she was going to be his next one. I believe he was the one who kicked the door in. He was coming for her. He was coming for her. And that girl was feisty. She went and got her. She was so startled and so creeped out. She went and got a firearm. Literally. Okay? Literally. I hope some of these women come out. This is what my hope is, because these are young women in their 20s. I hope they come out to talk to other women and talk about the red flags that they saw. And I really do hope that they go to therapy and talk about this, because this is traumatizing, not only especially for Susana Morales' family, but for all the people involved. This is traumatizing, right? That they were sleeping with the enemy, so to speak. You know what I mean? A nasty, disgusting enemy. And some of these women, unfortunately, even after he was arrested, okay, were still carrying on. He was still carrying on relationships with both of them while he's incarcerated. So he got locked up, February 13th? He was still carrying on relationships with these people on phone calls all the way through like May, June. Even though they knew he was locked up. So this shows you that there's a mind, there's something there. And I would recommend to these ladies, one of them has gone on and she has a child or whatever the case may be, but I would recommend them going to get help. And when I say help, talking to somebody and talking through this, because he's a stone cold murderer. This man murdered somebody and came back to the house with Synovia, and she lived with him and probably have relations with him. That is true. That's just that'll mess up your psyche altogether. Now, the one that's at West Georgia, finish your nursing school, honey. Finish your nursing school. Okay. And talk about it to other people. A lot of these people are verbally abusive. They are sometimes physically abusive, not all the time, but verbally, physically, emotionally. They do a lot of manipulation. I would not be surprised if these young ladies came out and they told their story and said, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. He did this, he pushed me up against the wall. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I would not be surprised. It would not surprise me, because you could see the anger in him. The girl just didn't want to be bothered with him. Elisha, she wasn't even his girl. And he was so upset that she stopped returning, because she said, I stopped returning his calls. I would not even respond. That was rejection. And that really caused him to go off the deep end. So it would not surprise me if these young ladies said he became very forceful or became violent with them. It wouldn't surprise me. And he lied all the time. Even the other young lady, he called her the side chick. She said that every time she would talk to him, he would always get off the phone and say he was talking to his mother or talking to somebody. No, he had multiple means of supply. He's a narcissist. He is a psychopath, in my opinion. Okay, that I'm not no psychologist, but anybody can do what he did, and he ain't even breaking a sweat. Me and you be sweating, panting, crying, shaking. No. Only thing he did when they were questioning him, you didn't see him break a sweat. He was shaking a little, but other than that, nothing. But those young ladies, they were red flags. There were red flags. And I'm sure I don't want to get into, that, but these people have a thing. They have these fetishes. So when they found that liquid V and the black, things, and she's always talking about choking somebody. Some of these people are debased. They don't have empathy. Y'all keep trying to figure out why, in my opinion, that a woman on the phone talking to this man, in my opinion, she has no empathy for anybody. There's no empathy there. They're void of empathy, y'all. Some of those borderline personality, antisocial personality disorder type of people. And no, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I could watch enough to know something ain't right, in my opinion. So a lot of them are into certain things, and my thing is, be into whatever you want to. But when you get to the point of hurting people, and child, he's good where he's at. Right off the street, just very demonic. If y'all don't know what time it is, just turn on the news. We had 2 people in Georgia yesterday. I thought it was 2. I thought the situation with the bus and the hijacking was one situation. It was 2 separate situations. It was a pow at one place with somebody who has some mental issues, and then this other person with some mental issues gets on the bus and I'm like, what in the world? Right here in Georgia. That's why you got to have your head on a swivel. And this is I was listening to another YouTuber today, and that's true. I was listening to Real Talk Bougie, and she was talking about how back in the day, I was able to go out. We took the bus, we took the train. We were able to, when our friends, we would go out, and have a good time, go to the movies. You were able to do that back then. But that street that Susana was walking down, it was very deserted at that time of night. Very deserted. It was like 9 something at night, so it was pitch black. And so, we just have to be more vigilant. And if you have a young lady even walking around, I see some of the young women running with their headphones. Don't run with your headphones on. Don't take away your sense of hearing if you're out. Keep your eyes and your ears and your hands clear. Go get you some mace. If you have a firearm, carry that with you. Because you may have to use it to protect yourself, of course, not for anything else. We don't condone violence, but to protect yourself, your life, and your liberty. Yes, ma'am. We will use what we have to do. But I remember back in the day where I would take the bus, and it was so funny. She was talking about Albee Square Mall. I was like, what you know about Albee Square Mall right down there, downtown Brooklyn on Fulton Street? That's what's up. That was the mall. We would go to either Kings Plaza, the mall out there, but you had to ride the bus out there in Brooklyn. But Albee Square Mall, downtown Fulton Street, before it got gentrified, that was like the mall. You would go in there and get your nameplate rings, your nameplate earrings, your nameplate belt. That was like 80s, going into the 90s. If you know, you know. But I just want to also give my condolences. I'm getting ready to get off here because I gotta get up and go to work. But I don't go nowhere to work. I just sit right, get up in the morning, get my coffee, and sit in front of my computer. That's my work. But I want to send my condolences to the Morales family. They gave a victim impact statement, and this just opens up all the wounds for her and her sister and her dad. The dad has filed a lawsuit against the apartment complex. Because they said that they should have known not to hire him based on his background, that apartment complex where he lived. Basically saying they should have known not to hire him with some of the stuff that he had already had in his record. He had gotten suspended, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lawsuit with that, but that's not going to bring her back. It's just not. And you can see the family and people in Gwinnett County, they weren't trying to hear it. The DA in Gwinnett County was not trying to hear that. He called him a monster. I agree all the way around. He's an absolute stalking menace to society. He is a monster, your worst nightmare at 23. But you know what? I'm going to say this. He exhibited some behaviors. I don't care what nobody say. He exhibited some of them behaviors. I know he's adopted, but when she sit back and look, he exhibited something. Sometimes as parents, you don't want to admit those things. And I believe to his girlfriends, he exhibited that he was a pathological liar, number one. They just lie just to be lying. He lied. He got caught in a lie. He went to Florida with the side chick. She posted on Instagram. So Novia ended up seeing it, and then he got caught. It's like he lied and said he was going on something for work or some, way, and then takes the other girl to Florida. Child, please. These people have multiple, we call it supply. If you know anything about narcissistic personality disorder or people who are on that spectrum, they have multiple, they need supply. They need multiple people, and that's men and women. They can't survive without that. It's just like there was a case, and I don't know if you guys know Alicia Watts. I had covered that case about a year and a half ago, and I had to stop for personal reasons because it was really kind of triggering me, and I had to kind of shut down and stop covering that case, that Alicia Watts case. But James Dunmore is the gentleman, the man who is charged with her. Her trial hasn't started yet, and the trial is going to start at the end of maybe this summer sometime, and I will try to follow it. But when they start to have a collapse, when they can't have supply, and they, seeing him in jail, coming out and taking him to his court cases, if you look at his before and after picture of being in jail a year and a half, he's literally looks like he's 20 years, and he looks a shell of himself because they need your supply. That's what you call those are the energy vampires, y'all. Those are the energy vampires. Just put it that way. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. He's found guilty on all the charges except for the grape charge. I hope Fulton County has their ducks in a row. I hope the trial for Mr. Williams goes as smooth as this one did, but he had all the evidence was stacked against him, and they didn't even wait. They was like, nah, we're not trying to wait over the weekend. We're not even taking this into Thursday. We're coming back with a verdict tonight, okay? And I was like, I thought some hours, but I was like, after 7:00, I was like, it'll be tomorrow morning. But they did it tonight, and I'm glad that they came back with that verdict. They're able to go home and sleep, and they may feel some kind of way that a 23-year-old is going to be in a jail for the rest of his life, but I don't, because if Susana, it could have been multiple people, and when they start, I don't know if there's any, but people who look, People who will start talking and saying the weird things or the weird stuff or whatever the case may be. And it says here, yeah, we have to be aware of our surroundings. It's dangerous. It really is. And for women, I'm not even saying not only for women, men too, but women, as far as our strength, like you gotta keep your head on a swivel. You really do. Like, be in the house before dark. Unless you're with your husband or your sons or somebody, be in the house before dark. If you by yourself, or don't be out there walking and running and jogging with headsets on. I'm watching the ladies around here jogging. I'm like, take that off your ears. Somebody come up around you. You're not even gonna sense them coming up around you. Even in the gym, you could put maybe one earbud in, but keep one ear open. That's what I would do. But anyway, y'all, let's see. California, 1983 said, yeah, he was coming for her, and she was ready to be. Look, she said she was pointing it at the door. She said she was ready for him. California, 1983. Okay. Elisha Bates said she was ready. You was not gonna catch her sleeping. Okay. And I'm so proud of that young lady. She did not let her red flags went off, and she knew. She said he was creepy. He was stalking me. She said, and she wasn't even, they showed the text message. She wasn't really even, replying to him. He was like, oh, can we link? What link? Does link mean friends with benefits or something? Because y'all need to let me know. But link up. I'm like, really? He was trying to get with his old girlfriend. And I wonder who that old girlfriend was that Elisha Bates knew. But honey, be happy that you got up away from him. And I'm sure you got some stories as to why you don't deal with him, or stop dealing with him, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. Yep. It says, yep. We have to be aware. Yes, very young, 23. And this happened in 2022. So he was only 21, 20, or just turned 22 at the time. These are young babies. But he was coming for Elisha. I'm telling you, he was coming for that girl. And she was like, her intuition kicked in. Okay? Her intuition kicked in. And this was some swift justice. Swift and speedy. They wasn't wasting no taxpayer dollars. Shout out to the Judge Atkins. She kept it a orderly courtroom. Gwinnett County wasn't trying to hear that. Now, what's going on with Fulton County, child? All type of shenanigans going up over there. But again, I think this is when you use your corporate credit card, your boys in blue. You go up to Gwinnett County, have some dinners, compare notes, use that as a business expense, and make sure y'all are on point. Let it be orderly. Make sure that everything is, together. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that everything is together. But it's going to be until that courtroom date. It's just my belief when that trial starts for Mr. Williams. I don't think, in my opinion, and I know I'm missing different stories, but a lot of you guys know about that case as well. I don't think you'll hear a lot more phone calls from his friend. I think that the reality has set in. And if he has watched this case, which it only took about 7 days, if Mr. Williams has watched this case, then he understands that what they can really truly find out from your phone. And even if you erase messages and those messages are not there, or computer searches, because there was a computer, they can retrieve that information. So, the state is ready to put on their case, but they're giving some extra time, 6 months, for his attorney to get it together. But there was so much evidence stacked against Miles Bryant that she was like, no, we're not questioning anybody, because there was nothing. I think the thing that she was just going to try to do was to not give him the unaliving penalty, because they do have the unaliving penalty here in the state of Georgia. So I think the best that she could do was get him life in prison without parole. I think that was the best. The next step up would have been, that, I don't know what they do, lethal something. I don't know, however they do that. So I think that's what she was trying to just get. That's the best. She was probably like, look, that's the best I could do. That's the best I could do. Ain't much I can do over here. And Angela Carter, Smooth, sis. Smooth. Corporal Detective Angela Carter. She was the one that really she nailed that interrogation. She made sure she gained his trust. She used all the, young terms. She did that thing. And then when she got upset, she went in on him like, you're lying. But anyway, y'all, I'm glad. I know the family, they can, at least understand that this man is locked up and won't be coming home. And I just pray for them, pray for their healing. You know, this is the type of thing that can just destroy a person. And, that was her baby girl. So let's just pray for the victims, right? Because this is about the victims, justice for those victims of these crimes and things of that nature. And they got that predator off the street. And he did not need a badge. He doesn't represent, like, even with nurses, when they have these old crazy, off the wall nurses that be doing stuff, you don't represent us. Now, I remember when Carly Hustle Russell, because she was going to nursing school too, I was like, we don't want you, Carly. But I knew Carly wasn't telling the truth. I don't know why a lot of people didn't understand that she wasn't telling the truth. But, the young lady has some issues. Now, I mean, I don't know if she's still in nursing school or not, but there's bad bunches in every profession. You know what I'm saying? And he definitely didn't need a badge to be patrolling nothing or doing anything. But a lot of them go to those type of professions because they like the power and the control, that type of thing. Law enforcement. You know what I mean? But anyway, y'all, I will see you guys on the next upload. I thank you guys for participating in the chat tonight. Thank you to CA 1983. Thank you to Nola Brown 000. I appreciate y'all. I know it's not a lot of y'all in here, but I appreciate y'all being here. I've been covering this, and I'll be covering other stories as well too. But I'm glad they came back so they can get their weekend started. It's Father's Day weekend. And I don't think there was nothing to talk about with this case, really. I mean, if they would have deliberated for more than a day, I would have been worried. Like, what? What more do you need? So they did swift justice. They're going home. They're going to eat, and they're going to go on with their lives. But all right, y'all, I'll see you guys on the next upload. Like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell. And please, y'all, that other young lady that's missing, please put that out there. Put it in your community wall. Whatever you got to do just to bring some attention to that case. All right, y'all. Peace. And I'm out.